How are you supposed to know what suspension travel suits you and the trails that you ride? Well, today I'm going to try and find out in underbiked versus overbiked. Bikes are put into categories like cross-country, down-country trail, enduro, super enduro, downhill. There's even more than that. But they're kind of commonly recognised categories, and manufacturers also tell you where their bike sits within that range. That doesn't mean they're going to suit every trail that you ride. Often it's said that if you have too much travel for the kind of mellow trails you might be riding, that's overbiked. And the opposite, if you're riding a short travel bike on some super chunky, technical or really fast terrain, then that is described as being underbiked. So today I'm going to put that to the test. We're at Dyfi Bike Park in North Wales, where there's a massive variety of trails, all gravity based with an uplift. And I'm going to try and pick one of these tracks that is most like an Enduro World Cup stage, which is hard to categorise because they have a massive variety as well. But it means a track that goes from top to bottom, where it's got a bit of everything. There's a bit of bike park, a bit of speed, some pedalling, quite long and physical, but also some technical and some more downhill style features as well. However, it's not just a straight top to bottom, really fast track. It's going to be something with a bit of pedalling as well. And I've got 3 different bikes. First, I'm going to start with the bike which might sound like it's best for the job. This is an enduro bike. Then I've got a trail bike at the shorter end of the travel, and I've got a downhill bike at the longer end of the travel. I'm sure I've said it in the past that I think sometimes very good mountain bikers might prefer to be slightly underbiked. So they're not wasting energy getting the bike to the top of the hill if they're pedaling it there. And then they're riding a short travel bike, maybe in exciting terrain where it's kind of a little bit out of its depth, a bit like driving a slow car really fast. But can every mountain biker enjoy riding a short travel bike in tech terrain, or is that a bit elitist? It might also be true that average mountain bikers can be tempted to overbike and buy a bike for what they really wish they were doing, riding double black diamonds at race speed, not actually for what they are doing, and actually they pay the penalty for buying a bike that is maybe a bit sluggish, a bit slow to pedal top of the hill, and actually not as lively on the descents as maybe they would like. All right, let's start with what you think is the right bike for the job. An enduro bike. This is the brand new Orbea Rallon. It's been slightly tweaked. It's got a bit more travel. It's 167mm on the rear, 170 fork. Plus geometry has got a little bit longer and slacker. So it's now 63.5 degree head angle. This bike can be set up either full 29 or mixed wheel size, as you see here. It's got steep and deep geometry as well, so all size riders can run a big drop post, 230mm drop post for most riders, so super capable for getting back up the hills as well. It's got proper enduro casing tyres, so nice and hard, FSA gradient carbon rims, and this bike weighs 16 kilograms. Right, so I'm going to do a timed run on each bike, just because I feel like I ride the best when I do a time. So we'll get a feeling for each bike and obviously get a result for the time as well, see which one is faster. So let's go. Now to the bike which you might say is underbiked for this sort of terrain, the Canyon Spectral. So 150 travel now, 160 fork, full 29er. I've actually got trail tyres on here as well, so that might mean I have to be a bit more careful on the rocky stuff, rough, slatey bits. 64-degree head angle, so really not much different from the Rallon, only half a degree steeper, but it's 20mm less travel and it's lighter as well, 15.3 kilograms. So, time for the Spectral short travel, and as capable as this bike is, I can now, understand why people do overbike when it comes to scarier terrain, because I know it's fast and rough. Feels like the more travel the better, but let's find out. Now to the bike that you could say is overbiked, the downhill bike, the Nukeproof Dissent. Proper downhill bike, got a triple clamp fork up front, 200mm of travel. There's loads of adjustability with this bike. You can change how progressive or linear the shock is, really simply. Your headset cups can stretch it out and make it longer or shorter. Same with the chainstays, I have made it longer on the rear. So big bike, it's got 63 head angle, slack, and it's 17 kilograms. Right, downhill bike, it's gonna be good at the top. It's fast, it's kind of a bit rough, some braking bumps, so gonna feel pretty good about the top. And then there's some flat sections in the middle, and the bottom's kind of smoothish, to be fair, so I reckon I might make a bit of time at the top, probably lose it all at the bottom, but we'll find out. All right, let's finish on the times and let's start with Enduro, Neil, on the Orbea Rallon. I did the course top to bottom in 5 minutes 38. It's pretty long, isn't it? I was quite surprised actually. I've also done it in splits, so kind of the top, middle and bottom. Lovey-dovey being the top, I did that in 1 minute 17. The flatter middle section, 2:08, and the bottom then 2:13, where it does get, again, more techie and a bit gnarly at the finish. So 5:38. Now to the underbiked run on the Canyon Spectral. So total of 5 minutes 40. Pretty close, 2 seconds slower. Quicker at the top, which it felt quite a bit quicker, I've got to say, even though on one section my hands rattled on the bars. There's one big fast burn with braking bumps where you could get around it quick, but it was scary, and yeah, I got rattled a bit. But quicker, 1 second at the top. Middle, again, a second quicker, really close, but 4 seconds slow at the bottom. So I would say that was down. I felt like I had to be a bit careful on the rockier sections. There's a couple of gnarly kind of off-camber rocks at the bottom of the racetrack, if you've ever ridden Dyfi, and it was wet. And on the trail tyres, I went steady because I didn't feel like I had a soft enough kind of rubber on there, but also I didn't want to pinch them as well. So I lost quite a bit of time at the bottom. So 2 seconds slower overall though, not a lot. Now to overbike, downhill bike, so total of 5:46. So what's that, 8 seconds slower than the fastest bike, 6 seconds slower than the underbiked. Lovey-dovey, top section 1 minute 14, that's fast. I was quite surprised about that. Flatter middle, 2:12, so a good amount slower. What's that, 5 seconds slower than the fastest bike. And then bottom, 2:20, again, quite a lot slower. 7 seconds slower than the Rallon. I did make a slight mistake. Actually kind of got offline before one of those, the tight sections. So I lost a bit of time, not all of that I wouldn't say. So fastest bike was Enduro Bike, top to bottom. But I've got to say, the others were closer than I thought. I know times aren't everything, because actually on the day, when someone asked me what I was filming, I explained, they said, just let us know which is the most fun. And I've come to the conclusion that they're all fun in their own way. I think Enduro Bike kind of wins for me because I can repeat that. I can do that on that track and I can go somewhere else. It's kind of more rideable, more places, I suppose. I love riding downhill bike, but a downhill bike to me is kind of a bit niche nowadays. I don't go out and do uplift days that much. So I love it, but I just wouldn't ride it as much as the others. And as much as I thought I liked being underbiked, I now maybe I'm getting old. I kind of like the confidence I get from having these enduro bikes that are so efficient and long travel. For me, it feels like that is my bike, and I can understand why people choose to be slightly overbiked. But let me know if I was too scathing earlier on in the comments down below. You know, I'm not telling anyone what bike they should or shouldn't buy, but are people kind of tending to buy a bigger bike than they want because they're thinking of what they would like to be doing on a bike, not what they're actually doing? Get involved in the comments down below and let us know what you think is a perfect bike for you as well.